What is up, idiots? Schwingers, welcome back. I'm at work, but I've got. Oh Jesus, come on! I got the face panties here. Not feeling great. Not 100%. Real bad sore throat. Middle of the night last week. I think I told you guys I was feeling a little sick. Mark was homesick. Now it's like full hit me. No COVID, no strep, got those tested. So just a real bad sore throat. Right now it's okay, kind of met it up right now. Doctor actually gave me antibiotics, which I was surprised about, mostly because Mark's doctor did and they helped him a lot. So I'm here though. I'm here for you guys as always, here for the Schwingers. Always here for the Schwingers. Let's recap last week before we're going to jump into your Thanksgiving dessert comps. Okay, Turkey Day is next week. We got 2 shows left before then. That means you get 2 Thanksgiving shows. We're going to do desserts this week, and next week we're going to do the Thanksgiving dishes, the mains, the apps and the main dishes. Okay. But first we got to recap last week. Go through that week, and then we'll jump into this week's projections and those games. Okay. I took down Sean 276 to 189. This is the highest weekly score anyone has had in our league history. I'm a little bummed. Last time I checked, it hadn't updated that history page and put my new high score in there. I'm waiting for that, and I will be sending Sleeper a message if it doesn't happen post haste. But Sean scored 189 points and still lost in the large margin of the week. The 108. Can you imagine 189 points and you still have the biggest blowout of the week? One of my out of the many MVP candidates I could have picked for this one, I'm going to go with Saquon. We got the week started out right for me on Thursday Night Football with 40 points, and it was so much of it on 2 plays within 20 seconds of each other. It was glorious. Sean sat Ladd McConkey, who had 18 points in favor of Terry McLaurin, who got 2. Honestly, it was just a week where it didn't matter. I chose violence. Sometimes we run into an opponent that just has one of those weeks, and this was one of them. This is my first out of this. I haven't had a top 10 week in Schwing history on the history things before. My wins, my championships have usually come from a team effort, just staying very, very consistent, but not the explosion weeks. Finally had one. So I locked up the Buckeyes division with this win. Happy to do that. And Sean still needs a win and an Adam loss to officially lock up the Boob Guys division. Because Sean's loss was offset by Adam's loss. So he's still in a strong position to close this out, but he hasn't done it yet. So Phil bounced back. Next game, Phil bounced back to end his losing streak. Took down Burt 206 to 174. His MVP was Jared Goff with 43 points. The Lions did whatever they wanted to Jacksonville. Burt sat 18 points from Elijah Moore in favor of 6.9 from Devonta Smith. Phil held off a charging Lucas in the standings to keep hold of the number 3 spot. Burt fell to number 6 and really is in the threat of missing the playoffs for the first time in a while this season. Speaking of Lucas, he got a win over JD 167 to 155 thanks to 28 points from I think I did Burt's dumb sit, but I can't remember honestly. He sat 18 points for Elijah Moore for 6. Yeah, I said that for Devonta Smith. I'm sorry guys, that's just where I am. Speaking of Lucas, he got the win over JD. Okay. 28 points from David Montgomery. Again, the Lions just did whatever they wanted to Jacksonville. Montgomery and Gibbs were both unbelievable. JD could have played Xavier Worthy for 17 points, and instead he played Deebo Samuel for 6.35. If he had played Xavier Worthy instead of Deebo, this would have been a razor-thin win for Lucas. It would have been something like 167 point whatever to 167 point less than whatever, or 166.98 or something. It would have been very, very close. Like we're talking within a point if he had sat him, but he still would have lost. Yeah, but it would have been very, very close, very tight, butt clenching tight. Lucas is sitting at number 4 in the playoffs, while JD is still holding down that number 10 spot in our league. Yeah. Anyways, Steve got the win over Mark, 167 to 159, thanks largely to 37 points from Bo Nix. Mark sat Patrick Mahomes and his 23 points in favor of Russell Wilson and 28 points, which lost him the game. I mean, Mark cannot get those decisions right so far. It has just not worked out for him. In the game of the week, Daryl took down Adam 188 to 165, putting a ton of pressure on the backside of the playoff teams. Daryl's sitting at number 7 now. Daryl got 36 points from Matt Stafford, while Adam really played his best lineup, except for Jason Sanders, 11 points, in favor of Brandon Aubrey, 6. So yeah, he did what he could here. The MVP of the week is going to be David Montgomery over Jared Goff because Lucas needed him to get the win, and Phil could have played one of his other options and still beaten Burt. But Lucas needed those points to get the win over JD. The dumb shits of the week goes to Mark again for not playing Mahomes over Wilson. He's just really having trouble making those calls, making the right call with those two. On to this week's games and your Turkey Day desserts. Purdy Balls versus ETN Everything Hurts. The current projection is 182 to 100. So that's me. That's me versus Lucas. This is a big game right now in the standings. I can't be pushed off my number 1 spot, but Lucas is really fighting for positioning in the playoffs. He's in a good position to make the playoffs, but it's all about positioning now. And you start to think about, do I want to be higher? Do I want to get to number 3? Do I want to be at number 4? It depends on who you're going to, what the matchup is going to be. So it's interesting to see people's kind of strategery going on at this time of the year. But this is a big matchup for the standings. Current projections 182 to 100 for me, favoring me. But there's a lot of players on this matchup. It's a late season by Apocalypse. There's another bad one next week. This one's hurting both of us a lot. I think Lucas's projection will come in somewhere around 160 to 170. I might need to start 3 tight ends in this one if Kittle's even healthy. Lucas will probably need to start Tommy DeVito or Will Levis, and he has to pray that Mike Evans is back. It's a nasty matchup with many of the big names out there. So I'm going to give it to Lucas that he's charging up the standings. He's going to get another win here. He's going to beat me and continue to put pressure on Phil for that number 3 spot. All right. Desserts, me. I think I did this last year. We're the top seed. I prefaced this by saying last year that this isn't my most favorite or what I think is the most delicious dessert, but it's the most Thanksgiving. It's so iconic. It's classic. I love it. I do really like it, but I'm not going to say it's the most delicious dessert that's at Thanksgiving. It's just very, very Thanksgiving, and I'm our top team, so I get the icon, which is pumpkin pie. It's not flashy. I do love pumpkin pie. I like it with the graham cracker cut crust. I'm not a fan of traditional crust on pumpkin pie. I don't know. The pumpkin's great, and then I get the crust. I'm like, okay, that didn't really add anything at all. So you make me a graham cracker crust at the bottom of that pumpkin pie, though, and we're in business. Yeah, it's good stuff. I just want to explain the reasoning because there are things that I think are more delicious, but this is if there's only going to be one dessert at Thanksgiving, this is the one I'm going to demand be there is pumpkin pie. Okay. Lucas, bit of a mishmash, his team. Chase Brown, Calvin Ridley, and year 6 David Montgomery shouldn't be as good as they are necessarily. I mean, they are. They're doing well together. They're leading his team along with Jalen Hurts, who is more of a juggernaut. They're good ingredients, but it seems thrown together and sort of oh shit, this is really good, even if it's not artfully done. So Lucas gets the new craze last year, the dump cake. Just kind of dump it all in the pan and don't really have to even mix it up. Usually pretty good though if you've ever had one. It's kind of like coffee cake but for dessert. So yeah, the dump cake, that's what Lucas gets. You're getting that dump cake, brother. All right. Amingo ate my baby versus D's nuts. The current projection is 163 to 108, favoring Burt. JD with multiple positions to fill, so the spread will be tighter. Burt needs a tight end in his lineup still, but he doesn't have a lot of options currently. I don't know. I didn't check the waivers this morning and see if anyone was picked up. JD will plug Chuba back into his starting lineup. But he's going against the Chiefs defense. Jonathan Brooks might be more involved in. Yeah, that's Jonathan Brooks. Might be more involved. So we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. It's really another ugly matchup due to buys. The trend recently has been JD improving and Burt's kind of slumping, but Burt's going to get the win here. Just not sure there's enough on JD's bench to fill in all the spots that he has to, but Lamar and Amon-Ra could win this on their own. That's why we play these games. But Burt wins this, I think. That's what I'm going to go with. He kind of, he's really fighting for that last playoff spot. Maybe he's not. Maybe he wants to be in the lottery again. I don't know. But I think he's going to get this win. All right, desserts. Burt, your team's hanging in there. I'm not sure it's the strongest. It definitely needs more to compete, but it's there. I struggled with what that meant as a dessert, and after a while, I decided that what I'm giving you is flan. Flan. I call it flan sometimes. I'm in a movie called Flandemic. Maybe I shared it with you guys. I can't remember. During the pandemic, it was making fun of that Plandemic movie, and I called it Flandemic. It's pretty good. It's a good little short film. I personally don't like flan at all, but a lot of people do. I just find it to be kind of mushy, soft. The texture's wrong. It's not a comment about how I feel about Burt, but it's a comment about how I feel about his feelings. Is I just don't, or about his team. I mean, is like just as flan is not my favorite. It's missing something. It's missing some texture. I don't know. People like it though. I just think it's a little smushy, a little soft, and that's who I think Burt's team is right now. He needs some bite. I think Marvin Harrison should have been that bite, and maybe he'll still become that down the road. I think he will become down the road, but down the stretch this season is what I meant, and be a great stack with Kyler. It's not unreasonable to think that happens. Being a rookie wide receiver, they come together at the end a lot of times. So if he gets that, maybe he's full on with a graham cracker crust again. It makes everything better. So yeah, but right now you're just flan, dude. You're that it's like the new Jell-O. I don't know. Maybe it's not new, but you know what I mean. Jell-O sucks. Flan's weird. Burt's team is a little soft. There, that's it. All right, JD, your team's doing well, but you're still the worst in the league right now. You're really not. Daryl's actually the worst. He has the least points, but his record's better. So I'm giving you any pie that comes covered in meringue. I hate meringue so much. It's so gross. Foam. It's just foam. Weird sugar egg white. It's just so gross. I don't know how anyone likes it, and people love that shit. And they make a whole meringue, just meringue, like a cookie. And I'm like, you're biting into packing peanuts. It's so nasty. Sorry, JD. I don't hate your team that much. I'd really hate meringue. This is probably, I don't know, whatever. I mean, a lot of times the stuff underneath meringue in a pie is so good. Like that lemon curd shit is like, I know it's all sugar, but goddamn, it is like, I love lemon flavored things. That is so good. If you made a pumpkin meringue pie, I'd be so pissed off. I would burn your house down. It's so bad. I'll never even find out what's underneath it because I won't eat the shit on top of it. And I'll just have to move on to the next dessert. And in my life, several times I've just scraped that meringue off and ate the lemon stuff underneath, and then there's still little bits of that shit hanging onto it, and I'm just like so angry about those little bits. It's like, this is why ruin delicious lemon stuff with this nasty foam? Like, who thought of this? Just whip some egg whites and sugar up and just lay it on top of things. It's fucking gross. All right, so I'm moving on to the next dessert when I see that meringue crap coming. And JD, you're moving on to next season. So yeah, I guess there it is. Tied back together. All right, next game. I'm here for the trophy versus the Meat Packers. The projection's 158 to 126 favoring Phil. Not surprising. Phil has one spot open while Daryl has two. So both of these will shift a bit, and it's going to be closer. This is a big matchup. Daryl's just outside the playoffs at number 7, while Phil got a big win last week, scored over 200. Great. He's trying to hold on to his positioning. Daryl's been doing great recently, but Phil has just been better, and we'll get the win here. His average is significantly higher than Daryl's on this season. Sam Darnold did not pumpkin, by the way. So that's good. That's good for Phil. Sorry. Jesus, sorry, guys. Desserts. Got it. Someone can screenshot that one. That'd be a good little shot. Okay. Phil, better than your record, as I've been saying. You're still number 3. you still deserve a solid dish. But right now it looks less impressive than the top dishes, right? That's why you're getting apple crisp. Okay, it's great, not a problem. Okay, no problem with apple crisp at all. In fact, it's easier than apple pie. It's delicious. It might be better. It is probably better than apple pie a lot of times. But no one is looking at it that it's as difficult or impressive as what apple pie is. To make an apple pie is way harder than making an apple crisp. Does that matter when you're eating it? No, it's which one tastes better, and 9 out of 10 times, apple crisp tastes better. It's so good, but technically, it's worse in certain ways. Okay, so technically, you are worse than Sean in record, but points average, you're where it counts a lot of times. And that's not even where it counts, I guess. But in a competition, he's done better than you. Which an apple pie, a well-made apple pie with the look, everything going on, probably going to do better at a cooking competition than apple crisp. It's kind of like a dump cake, let's be honest. But it's great. It's a great fucking dessert. Daryl, nobody saw it coming, but you're hanging in there. You're trying to scrap for the playoffs despite having the least points in the league. We can't fault you for making it to the table, but everyone's a little confused how you got there, okay? That's why you are store-bought pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. It definitely looks out of place on a fine Thanksgiving spread, but you're there and you're in contention, but everyone's definitely judging the person who brought them. So that's your team, buddy. It's on the table. You made it. It's on theme. It's on point, I guess, or whatever, but it's no, yeah. Also, those are gross. I don't know who first started thinking that chocolate and pumpkin go together, because they do not. They do absolutely do not. It's a disgusting combination. I don't understand how people like it. Moving on. Oregon Beer Force versus Bed Bath & Beyond. Current projections 162 to 104 favoring Mark. Adam does have 3 spots to fill. So again, I laughed not because of the score, but because of the number of teams whose current projection is less than 110 points, because of this huge buy. The Superflex won't be a QB for Adam. We know that. Daniel Jones is getting benched, I guess, unless he picked up. Tommy DeVito's already on Lucas's bench. He's probably going to have to play him. So Adam's probably not filling his Superflex with a QB. He's got a running back and a tight end spot to fill, which will include James Conner, which is good, and Cole Kmet. Those are fine. So will it be Adonai Mitchell for his Superflex spot? It's dicey. He really needs a win to hold on to his number 5 spot, stay in the playoff race. I don't think he gets it here, though. The Seahawks play the Cardinals defense that's improving, so it could help that Mark just doesn't score enough points to beat Adam. But the Cardinals defense, as much as they have been improving, are very up and down too. They're very inconsistent. They're young, I think, from what I'm having my ticker up here. That's your heart is your ticker. I don't know what they call this, my brain, other than nicknames for it, But I think they're young defense. So I think they're inconsistent. Maybe they just will give up enough to Mark to get this win. But I'm picking Mark to win. Adam needs that Cardinals defense to stand up and to shut the Seahawks down. All right, desserts. Mark is whipping up chocolate martinis for dessert. Okay, yeah, it's really good option. This is a really good thing, and it's way better than Mark's team. But Mark's instructions were clear: bring a dessert for the entire family. And he said, fuck those kids, it's time to party. So he's whipping up delicious, amazing chocolate espresso martinis. He totally missed the assignment on this one, but all of us are glad that he did. And more that's the thing about Mark rather than his team. But that's just when I pictured what Mark's bringing to Thanksgiving. That's what I pictured. And it's like, what? For the kids? No, this is for us. And we're all happy about it. So good job, Mark. Adam is a chocolate cream pie, okay? It's another one that I have no problem with. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't see it in the elite category, and I really seems to be missing something. It's basically just chocolate pudding in a store-bought pie crust a lot of times, right? I mean, that's what it seems like. Could be it's not bad. Maybe it has an Oreo crust. Okay, back into the graham cracker crust. Let's bring in an Oreo crust on that chocolate cream pie. Maybe there's a little bit more there, a little bit more going on. But I don't think, it's not bad. It's just basic, okay? It's just a basic thing. Needs more. And you don't put whipped cream on it. Like that, you can do that. That doesn't make it a better pie. That's every pie gets whipped cream on it before you eat it. So that doesn't spice something up. It's like pre-topping someone else's shit. It's like My gravy might be terrible, but it comes with gravy already. Or my turkey might be terrible, but it comes with gravy already on it. It's like, well, I could have done that myself and cooked a better turkey. So, all right, on to the game of the week: Portland Ducks versus the Baylor Broncos. Current projection: 179 to 128, favoring Steve. What's better than a sibling rivalry, especially in-laws, even better at the holidays, okay? So maybe this isn't the best matchup, but it's a sibling rivalry, in-law matchup. Love it. Steve versus Sean, Sean versus Steve. Sean's down Breece Hall and Jamar Chase and needs to fill in for Amari Cooper. Steve has just about everyone available to him. His entire team seems to be active this week. Sean would normally crush in this matchup this season. He averages 19 points more than Steve. But with the buys happening and losing his top end, Jamar Chase ceiling, Steve might get the upset here. However, Tommy DeVito is going to come in and he's going to hyper target Malik Neighbors, and Sean's going to get a surprise win on a real hard week of buys for him and probably lock up the Boob Guys division. So that's what I'm picking. Sean with a quasi upset just based on the people he's down. All right, desserts. Sean, number 2, gets apple pie. Again, it's debatable about the order, and maybe this is just a lazy pick like pumpkin pie was for me, but I'm a man of tradition, okay? And apple pie is royalty at Thanksgiving. Some people might put it as the pie over pumpkin. I just think there's more opportunities in the year for apple pie, and pumpkin pie rules this time of year. Maybe next year I'll get wild and I'll put some creative picks at the top. But for now, the elites get the elites, okay? Pecan pie is also an option here for both of us. It's way too much. I mean, they're all pie. They all have sugar, but pecan pie is so much more sugar, quite a bit sweeter, richer. So I like the other two. But it's an option there. So really, you get the idea what I'm going with those two. All right, Steve. Steve has been revitalized, okay, with the play of Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. And his rebuild might not take as long as it looked, but maybe he just needs some refreshing, okay? He needs some stale bits to be remade. That's why I am giving Steve a bread pudding that still has not been put together, okay, or cooked. Bread pudding is way too good to give to Steve. Maybe he got a little sauced at Thanksgiving morning. Okay, forgot to throw it all together, didn't bring the ramekin, something happened. So Steve's team is the makings of a bread pudding. It just needs to be put together and cook that sucker up, and it'll be beautiful. It'll be great, it'll be delightful. So that's what you got, Steve. You got the fixings for a bread pudding. Some stale bread, old bread, whatever, it's not stale. You got the cream, you got all the spices. It's ready to go, buddy. It's ready to go. You just gotta fix it, put it together, and finish it up with some toppings. Maybe that's in the draft next year. So bread pudding, delicious, great dessert. Not one that I've had very many times in my life, but when I thought of something that's like, let's take some stuff that we need to use and make a dessert out of it, bread pudding is what popped in my head. And that's Steve. Got to use those pieces now that they're all there. All right, that's it, fellas. Peace out. I won't say happy Thanksgiving because we have next week for that. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for getting through the sickness with me. All right, peace out.